Alright, so this video is going to show you how to control the location of your dialog. Like for example, I have the input dialog from this program, right? I want this to show like at the center, right, top of the screen. So this dialog is coming from this live code text input dialog, right? Right, equals new text input dialog, which you should be able to control the location, okay, and the size of the dialog. To control the location, we set x, set y to location that you want to pop up. Like if I do 100, it's going to pop up like 100 pixel from the right. But we don't know what the screen size is going to be, right? So we actually should use the toolkit to get the screen size resolution setting, right, from different computer machine. This toolkit will have toolkit.getDefaultToolkit and get screen size, which returns screen dimension, which we can get the width, right, and the height. Now, if we get the screen size, okay, to set up, then if we set up the whole screen size, it's going to be off the monitor here. So we need to, if we do divide by 2, right? So screen width, right? We try to make it top, set y equal to 0 is top, which is good. Screen width is, if it's divided by 2, you may start to see that the whole screen divided by 2, this is starting location in the middle, but we actually want it to be like center like that, right? So we don't want it to be in the middle. It's like in the middle already, but we need to subtract the size of half of the dialog too, right? To make it centered like that. So we need to be able to get the dialog width too. So what we're going to do, we're going to declare, right, a dialog, input dialog width, right, a variables for that, and try to see if we can get the dialog width, right? So we talk about input dialog. So this one has to declare first, otherwise we cannot refer to it, right? So we're going to say input dialog dot. We have get width. Not sure if it's going to be working, but we're going to test by maybe the system.out.print first to see if we really see the value of the width. Okay, because from the previous video we may see that for alert block it will not work. Okay, like if you scroll down a little bit, you have to do get dialog pane like that to get the preferred width for that dialog alert. So we are test to see if we have to do the same principle like that. Same way or not. So let's pop up. Now I need to enter something. Let's see if it print out the width. You see it's not really printing out the width. It doesn't work, right? So that means indeed it's going to be the same principle as the alert, which it had to get the dialog pane first and get preferred width, right? So let's do that. So to get the width, we're going to say input dialog dot get, because it seems like the dialog itself is on the pane, okay? So we want to get the dialog pane and then get preferred width instead, okay? Now let's test again if we actually get the actual values of that. So okay, let's return something like -1, meaning that it could be the default value, right? So we get the dialog pane and get width. Let's see if we can get width from that. Okay, so that looks like it, right? Now we get the width of the dialog, then we technically can do the same. We say subtract off the screen width, right? with the input dialog width and divide by 2. Now let's see if we have it center. Voila, we get it center right to the top of the screen. So same thing, right? In the requirement we said input dialog will pop up on the top and center to the screen. Now for information dialog like alert that we output the information of after your conversion, feet and inches, pop up on the bottom and center to the screen right there. So how do we do that? Now it's not doing that, it's just bottom right, right? We want it to be here, right? So now let's keep reading this code. The first one is working so far. Now let's explain the input dialog a little bit. So input dialog show and wait pretty much just pop up and wait until the user enter. After user enter input, we assign the input to result, right? So we get input, just like the option pane.show input, right? Message dialog. So we get a result. Now result, if you hover the mouse, it's return the type, right? Optional string, right? So that's why I say always read this. It return optional string, so it had to be optional string. So that means we get a string. Then we have to convert the string by convert it to double. We use double dot. Double is a class, has a method parse double that can give you the result, which is string dot get. Okay, the result itself is going to be optional string like that, but we want only string, then we have to do dot get. Then we get a string of that value that I entered, which is 160, convert to height, right? If I enter 160 in double. And this program pretty much now is convert to inches by take that values. After you convert string to double, then you can manipulate the data by multiply that double to 0.39. Then you get the height in inch. So after that, we want to display this, right? So now if I want to find feet, so inch, right? So I'm going to say int feet, right? It's going to be whole number. Feet is going to be take the height in inch, right? You already have height, and now you want to divide by 12, right? If you divide by 12, now one thing about integers in Java is if I divide integers to integers, like for example 9 is an integer, right? Divide by 2, the output here should be 4, not 4.5, because integer and integer give you an integer. If you say 4.5 is double, right? And you're going to see this on your test. So make sure 9 divided by 2, you get 4, not 4.5. Right? So if you want to get 4.5, you have to do double divide by. If I divide by double, right, by putting 0.0, then you get double value out, 4.5. Or you can do 9.0 divided by 2, you still get 4.5. Like only one is double, the answer will be double. Like either this one or this one. Then we said the result here, if I say 160, we actually get 62.4 inches, but we want to split into feet and inch, right? That means 62.4, we want to take that, right? 62.4 divide by 12. So in Java, if you divide double to double, you get double, right? This is one double, and integer you get double too, right? So, but it doesn't make sense to have double in feet. Feet should be just whole 5 feet, and the remainder should be inches, right? Then we actually want to cast this. Remember we learned how to cast to int. So make this number as an int. So when you cast this, it pretty much just it's going to round the number to int. Change that to int, which is 62. Right? 62 divided by 12 is going to be 5. Then you get the answer 5 feet down. Right? And if you want to get the inches, we have the operation. This is division, right? Operation. We have another operation we call remainder. So we can just do 64.4 and do remainder, which is we call mod remainder 12. It's going to get whatever remainder from division is. It's going to get that remainder, and that should be in inches, right? So what is the remainder when we divide? It's going to be 2.4, right? That's remainder. That should be inches, right? And this is going to be 5 feet. So let's try that. Okay. So we said height inch, right? That we get in 62.4 if I use 160 as centimeters. So we divide. Before we divide, we want to convert this to an int, right? By casting it. Divide by 12, right? Now we get an integer, whole number. And we're going to do the inches. Inches could be double, right? Can be point, right? Fractions. So we get the height in inch and do the remainder, right? This is the remainder operator we call mod. Now we have feet inches. Your height is, if you want to do format, that's for inches, right? And we have to say feet is whole number already. We don't need to worry about format. We can say in feet, right? And 2.4 inches, right? Now that is alert box. Okay, let's check that first before we control the location. There you go. We get your height 5 feet, 2.4 inches. Now we're going to move that to the center here, which is, we already have the bottom corner, right? So bottom, that is Y, right? And X is to make it to the center, right? Now, this alert, you can set your own size right here, set preferred size. You can also, if you don't want to set your own size, just take it down and do the same as get dialog pane dot get width, right? Since you don't set your own size, then you don't use get preferred, right? Get height, right? Then you subtract. Same principle, get the screen width, subtract, right? And divide by 2, right? Then you should take it into the middle, right? Right. So instead of declaring variables like I did the input dialog, right, width, you can just take the actual, right, function, put in there, right? Subtract it out, divide by 2. It's the same thing. Now let's test 160. Okay. It's the reason I like to declare that, then I can check that it's actually work, right? So that's the reason why we can actually get the width out. We can try to do